Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Catching the Facts, an uncensored view of D1 college football. I'm your host, Dan Sisk.
And I'm Schroeder.
And we are recording this the day after the college football national championship, which was played down in Atlanta, Georgia, between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So we're going to have an in-depth analysis on that game. And then, as promised last week, we're going to start to dive into the NFL playoffs for you guys as a kind of a bonus couple episodes. So that'll be a lot of fun to talk about. But first, we got to cover the national championship. Eric, your team. Let's go through it.
Yeah, so they started – Ohio State, they won 34-23 in Atlanta versus Notre Dame. They started off really hot. Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame actually started off great.
Yeah, that long drive was impressive. And did you see Riley Leonard literally look like he was about to pass out?
Yeah, he puked on the sidelines.
Yeah.
He ran the ball, I think, 9 times that drive, 34 rushing yards.
It reminded
just on that one drive.
Yeah, it reminded me of Max Duggan against Michigan.
Yes.
When he was literally getting every single snap and he looked like he was about to pass out.
Yeah.
And that's who he reminded me of there.
But yeah, man, Riley Leonard put his team on the back just that first drive, and then he kind of went quiet.
Yeah, he did.
And honestly, not even just Riley Leonard, just the whole team in general. They only had 53 rushing yards that entire game, and they had 34 on the first drive of the game. So that's just, I mean, Marcus Freeman kind of abandoned the playbook a little bit.
He did.
Right after Ohio State answered with that touchdown.
Getting cute doesn't work.
No.
Did you idiots watch the Penn State tape? The Ohio State Penn State tape? Like, did you pay attention? Getting cute does not beat Ohio State.
No.
I don't understand why all these teams keep thinking that that'll work.
Yeah, and then the second quarter opens up with a Jeremiah Smith touchdown, which ridiculous. He was like, it was like a fake orbit play where he kind of
it was a beautiful play. And everyone on Twitter was freaking out like they literally have not run that play at all.
No,
this year.
And so where that play came from Chip Kelly was they ran it. Alabama ran it against him in 2020 with Devontae Smith. So they just reversed it.
Okay.
So they ran that exact same play. How do you even think of that? Like, just watching film.
Because Chip Kelly, at this point in his career, is not a head coach. He's just not. He can't do it. But he is one of the most brilliant offensive minds of the last 30 years. Yeah. Legitimately. I'm being dead serious with that. He's a genius. He really is.
Yeah, and Jeremiah Smith, man, he's special.
He is.
He's obviously he has to stay for at least 2 more years, which he's leaving probably his junior year for sure. He can go to the draft right now, but he had a good game, 5 receptions for 88 yards and a touchdown. That one, I thought it was ridiculous. Late in the game on the line for Marcus Freeman. One of the Notre Dame linebackers, like their best player on defense, gets injured, goes down. They bring in a backup, one-on-one up top with Jeremiah Smith, playing soft coverage on him. It's ridiculous.
Back up on him.
Yeah.
That 3rd and 11 play, that was like a gutsy call. Mm-hmm. But, man.
They didn't take a shot up until that point.
Yeah, gutsy call, but he couldn't have been more open. You can't be more open than that.
No. When you're putting Jeremiah Smith one-on-one, you know it's just going to be a catch for Jeremiah. I mean, it's just such a ridiculous call. And also that call to kick the 3 points, that doesn't do you any good. Trying to make a 2-possession game a 2-possession game, there's just no point in that.
On Notre Dame's?
Yeah. And
that was an
clanked it off the upright.
I mean, forget missing it. Even if he makes it, that's the wrong call.
Either miss or make. Yes. Made it worse that he missed it, but
yes.
Because he's been automatic all year.
Mitch Jeter?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been
all right.
He was good in the playoffs.
That's
what I mean. In the regular season. But he hit everything against Penn State. He hit everything against Indiana.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, he was having a good playoffs.
Yeah.
And then
to miss a 16-yard kick.
No, not good.
No.
Not good at all.
Not at all. Will Howard played good. He was perfect through the first quarter, 14 for 14. He had 231 yards, 2 TDs, and no interceptions. Just played a clean game.
Yeah.
No mistakes from him. Then Quinshon Judkins as well. Great game. I mean.
Yeah. Will Howard is the kind of quarterback who is definitely elevated by the talent around him.
For sure.
He's not Burrow where You know, you have all this talent around you, but you elevate that talent.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
But Will Howard is a really good college QB. He will never make it in the pros, and you know, he's fine with that because he is the right leader for this team. We were saying it last week, guys. I mean, it was they never had a prayer. But yeah, I mean, Notre Dame started to make a decent comeback.
Yes.
I turned it off. I texted it. I was like, guys, I'm done. As soon as they got the opening touchdown, I'm out. You know?
Yeah, it was 21-7 going into half.
As soon as they made it 28-7, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I checked the score, and they were only down by 8, and I was like, oh, my God. So I turned it back on and watched the bulk of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was Notre Dame started to make it interesting, but, I mean, again, Ohio State covered the spread like we said they would. And it just, great win, great season. That team is the epitome of a team that the playoffs help.
Yes.
The new setup, right? A team that doesn't appear in the conference championship, legitimately being the best team in the sport. I just, I don't really know what else to say because I don't want to regurgitate what we said last week about the playoff setup. I mean, we kind of said everything we needed to there. But yeah, my feelings about the playoff setup are kind of still the same, where it needs work, but it's definitely on the right track. I think that's kind of where most people are at. I don't think anyone projected the national championship being 7v8, but it turned out to be a pretty decent game. I was so happy Notre Dame lost. Man, I was so happy. I really was. I can't stand them. I really can't. Someone's got to say it, so I will. I can't stand that fan base. I can't stand their arrogance. I mean, the Cowboys they called them the Cowboys of college for a reason. Both of them have legacies of failure with obnoxious, gloating fan bases that are nauseating to listen to. Am I wrong? Be honest, Eric. You can say this as an Ohio State fan.
Yes, Notre Dame is nauseating,
They
I guess.
are.
But look,
They have a good coach. I like Marcus Freeman a lot.
I like Marcus Freeman.
I
actually really like him. Very humble.
Nothing against him at all.
No. Great run for that team, man. I mean, look, whatever you got to say about the fan base or whatever, it's whatever. But, like, this team, they weren't horrible. I mean, they made it here. They played a good game, come back, just strung a little short.
Yeah, and also, I mean, did you see the Bears didn't go for Freeman, went for Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
Freeman was never going to leave. I don't know why.
No,
I think a lot of people were freaking out about that headline.
Yeah.
It was, guys, why would Freeman leave? There's literally no reason for him to leave that job.
Nope.
I suspect he is going to get a big payday, as he should. Mm-hmm. He has proven to be an excellent. Let me phrase it this way: he uses the portal better than 98% of the coaches in the sport. There are a couple that use it better than him, but I mean, look at all the SEC teams that lost early. Again, as we said a couple weeks ago, I don't know if we can call it parity at this point with the playoff and like the teams all being equal, but Notre Dame is undoubtedly becoming one of the teams that is benefiting from the portal, and he is exploiting it to no end, and it's working out for him. He's really good in a room, like you said. He's really humble. He's really good in front of a microphone. I watched his press conference last night, and I mean, he in the face of failure, not overwhelming failure like we predicted, but in the face of failure, he was very direct and really, really professional. I was impressed. There's really nothing else to say about Notre Dame specifically.
You could just tell, like, his players love him. You know
they
what I mean?
love him.
Like,
they do.
They wanted this just as bad as he did.
And it really was not their fault, guys. Ohio State's just that good.
Right.
They really are.
you can kind of break down the game and see where Marcus Freeman fell short a little bit, on third down. Sure.
Yeah.
But
the field goal call.
Right. But, it's not going to necessarily – that one call is not going to win or lose you the game.
No, and you can't boil the season down to that one call.
Right. Because it's just execution at that point. Their defense, could they have played better? For sure. Could the game planning could have probably been better on Jeremiah Smith, especially on that last catch that he had, which I don't agree with that play call there.
Smith to 5 receptions? I mean, Smith wasn't going ham.
No.
But he got the catches when it mattered. And that, in the moment, Smith made the catch. And I think that's kind of what people, understandably so, are going to zero in on.
Yeah, but I liked what he was doing when he was down, This team, Notre Dame...
they were dead in the water, and he got them to 23 points.
Exactly. Right. They haven't really had to play from behind all season.
Yeah.
They've been playing in front,
right.
And even with Ohio State when they were down 7-0. But, Jaden Greathouse stepped up. Huge. To make it a close game. He had 6 receptions, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I think, the fact that they were dead in the water and then got 23.
Yeah. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
It's not like they got blown out. It wasn't like a TCU-Michigan situation. They made it a close game.
Yeah.
So that's really all you can ask for. So congratulations to Marcus Freeman. That's a big step.
Congratulations for saying no to the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is one of the black hole.
He's in a better situation right now.
Yes. Why would you leave? He has no reason to leave.
And he's probably going to get paid more by Notre Dame, wouldn't you think?
He probably will. Rip Ben Johnson. He's going to make it 2 years.
Yeah.
He's going to make it 2 years. Not going to be his fault. They're going to be a disaster. But that's another conversation. Freeman, he's good.
Yeah.
Let's finish up Ohio State before we move on to NFL.
Yeah, I mean...
legitimately, up there with the Burrow Chase Tigers of 19 as one of the best offenses you're ever going to see on the college level or, frankly, the NFL level, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a joy to watch this offense work, even if you don't like Ohio State. I mean, you have to, marvel at their raw talent. I mean, weapons behind the line of scrimmage, on the sidelines, everywhere. They had a weapon, and a strong weapon. Yeah. Everyone was either an S or A tier talent.
Yeah.
And Howard's probably a B.
B, yeah. Yep.
And the running backs, they're both A. Neither of them are S, but they're both A.
Right.
And then the receivers are S.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best running back tandem in the sport that isn't Singleton and Allen. I mean, and that's not just my personal bias. A lot of the professional statistics have Singleton Allen as one, and then Henderson, and then I'm blanking on his other.
Judkins,
sorry, as number 2. So that's not my personal bias. But still, number 2 running back tandem in the sport. That's nothing to complain about. Yeah. And it's not like Singleton and Allen brought Penn State to the national championship. But the number 2 running back tandem is all you need when you have receivers that are at this rate, NFL Hall of Famers if they keep developing the way they are. I mean, it's special to watch.
Yeah.
They make Will Howard look like Arch Manning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Man, this team is just so we've been saying it all year. I mean, when we've been covering Ohio State.
That Michigan game, I can't explain it. There's no rationale. Which is what's going to fuel the Wolverine fans, and
they were all up in the comments. Oh, they still didn't beat Michigan, so it's not a successful season.
To an extent, because that's what kept them out of the conference championship game, and they would have blown out Oregon in that game.
Yeah, I mean, but
because that's another neutral field,
Right, but I just think saying that's just kind of ridiculous. I mean, because in the end, it doesn't really matter. They're national champions either way, probably. So.
You mean Michigan doesn't matter?
Yeah. I mean, it matters, especially that they lost. Because I think that fueled this team.
Oh, yes. 100%. I'm not convinced they win the national championship. I'm convinced that they win the Big Ten. I'm not convinced they win the national championship if they don't lose to Michigan. Because I don't know if you can keep that up.
I agree.
They would have beaten Oregon. 110%, no doubt in my mind. But would they have won the national championship?
I don't
know.
We'll never
because they would have been the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And as we saw, the number 1 seed had a horrible setup in this playoff. I mean, just brutal. So I don't know, but I mean we're playing what ifs and we can't play what ifs.
Right.
You know, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, great season. Overall, college football this year, really fun to watch.
Yes.
Again, I think this is a step in the right direction. I think the setup needs work. I stand by considering maybe moving the bowl games to first round so that the top 4 seeds can get the home field. I think that might be the way to go. That's the only thing that I can think of. But again, what we have now is much better.
Yeah.
But again, the fact that the home teams all won in the first round, the fact that every 1 through 4 seed lost, and the fact that 7 of those 8 games were blowouts, you can't look past that and just say, "Oh, it's the game."
Right.
I think you have to look at the issues with the setup, and there are issues with the setup.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like the 12-team setup.
I do. It just we need to shuffle up what the home games are.
Right.
That's what we need to shuffle up.
Yep.
No more than 12. My God, I can't watch 3 more blowouts.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Right.
I can't do it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see what Ohio State will do next year. A lot of guys leaving.
Yeah, because they spent a freaking fortune to keep that offensive line, and now the offensive line's gone. So we'll see. I mean, again, we're not going to know until we see some preseason rankings.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a what if at quarterback right now, because I saw Devin Brown today just hit the transfer portal, went to Cal U, and it's probably going to be Julian Sain unless they get some great prospect in the transfer portal. But
what was his background in the high school ranking? Do you know? I mean, if you
Devin
don't,
Brown. Oh, I don't know.
Julian.
Julian Sain.
Yeah. Was he
he was up there?
Okay. Then, I mean, knowing Ryan Day, just put elite receivers around him and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's at Ohio State, you are as good as your receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's only an Ohio State thing, I feel.
Yeah.
I think everywhere else you need a really good quarterback to elevate the talent, but at Ohio State, you need a competent quarterback, and the competent quarterback can rise up.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, and I don't say that I'm not trying to diss Will Howard, but I mean he's not an NFL caliber prospect.
Yeah,
he's just not.
Yep.
But yeah, great game, great season, great comeback. Playing like that 4 weeks in a row, and keeping that momentum. If you had just beaten up on Tennessee, okay. If you had beaten Oregon, okay, because it's so hard for a team to win multiple games in a season against one team. Right. But the fact that they kept that up. For the semifinal and now this, is impressive, really impressive, and it's Ryan Day. It's on Ryan Day. I mean, he's the one who facilitated that anger and that frustration and that pressure, and put it on the field. Yeah,
this team had a lot of fight, especially in the playoffs.
They did.
I mean, they were, trying to play for Ryan Day's job, and just seeing that raw emotion from him, I like that. I like when coaches show emotion like that because it shows they care.
Yeah. Sometimes it can get a little obnoxious, but I didn't feel it was obnoxious last night. But sometimes coaches can get a little overboard with that, but Ryan Day didn't.
We actually might get into that when we're covering NFL.
Oh, God. I know where you're going. I know where you're going with that.
All right.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yep.
I know what he's talking about. Crybaby. Anyway. I don't know. I feel college football was fun this year.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a step in the right direction for sure.
Yes.
This season was very entertaining, and especially to cover it at this close of a level like before. Like, I've never really would have paid attention like this.
And I think the portal really made it fun because it evened out the playing field for everybody. Notre Dame was in the national championship.
I
mean, it really did give everyone a fighting chance. Mm-hmm. Making the show was a blast with you.
Yeah.
Again, we're not done. I'm not saying goodbye or anything, but so it was a really good season. Congratulations, Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's all I have. What about you?
Same here.
Okay, guys, so that is the college football season. Thank you so much for going through this year with us, starting with, I think we started week 3?
Yeah, it was early in the season.
I mean, this is episode 10.
Yeah.
So this would have been... Yeah, it would have been week 4,
Yeah.
week 3, week 4, week 5, somewhere in there. God, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember, I promise. Yeah, ever since that point, we've had a blast covering this. I hope you guys had a blast listening to us. But we're not done with this show. We got a couple more episodes for you, including a substantial part of this one. So, moving on to the NFL divisional round. We got Chiefs-Texans. We've got Lions-Commanders. We've got Eagles-Rams. And we have Ravens and the Bills. So, we're going to move on. We're going to go in the order that they were played. So we're going to start with Chiefs-Texans.
Yeah,
Eric,
so first time covering the NFL here on
crazy,
the show.
Isn't it?
I love it, though.
I like it, too. It's fun. It's a good change of pace.
So the Chiefs beat the Texans 23-14. Obviously at their home field. Look, this was a good game. Everyone coming into this game, everybody knew that
roughing.
Texans,
okay, I need to say it. That roughing the passer penalty. That's a disgrace. Eric, I don't think I've ever seen a worse penalty. Yeah. I'm not even kidding.
Everyone
they
knows,
are so biased for the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Everyone knows the Chiefs get calls.
They get so many calls. Like, for a while, I was like, okay, calm down. But now I'm like, you know what? You're kind of right.
Yeah. But, they only had 50 rushing yards also. So it's like, Kareem Hunt, he's older. I understand that. You got Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield coming off an injury during the season, but Kareem Hunt, 8 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. Like, that's not that good, especially from a veteran running back like Kareem Hunt is. Yeah. I understand this.
But he does enough. They've been like this for years. They haven't had Tyreek Hill, but they get enough production from running back that it's not like a dire concern for them. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, this team isn't built around a running offense. No, it's all around Patrick Mahomes and the receivers, and they don't even have that good of receivers.
They don't.
Xavier Worthy.
Guys,
it's like,
dude, he is on pace to be the best quarterback of all time.
Honestly, if he wins one more.
That's all I needed to see was last year. Last year he played with scraps, and they won the Super Bowl. Last year is all you need to know that he's the best ever. Yeah. In my eyes, Brady had pieces. He never had like elite teams around him other than the year they lost to the Giants, the undefeated year. But they Brady always had elite Hall of Famers around him, Gronkowski and whatnot. So the fact that Mahomes had literally no one around him other than Kelsey, and won a Super Bowl. That is that alone. We're preaching to the choir. We're not telling you anything you got our listeners don't know, but he's a special talent.
Yeah.
And he's a likable talent. I don't hate him. It's not like Brady where I couldn't stand him and found him arrogant. He is it's just raw talent with him.
Yeah. And then
Stroud. I want to hear your thoughts on Stroud. I felt Stroud played it too safe and didn't take enough chances. And it resulted in not getting blown out. So I guess from that perspective, whoop-de-doo. But this year, he's not been the same.
No. That's
the team isn't nearly as good.
Right, that's right, yeah.
To be fair. And they blew out the Chargers. Let's give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
He had I don't want to call it a full sophomore slump because he wasn't awful, but it was definitely a step back.
Yeah, look, it's hard to come off of a rookie season like he had,
of course,
and continue to continue that off a high level like he played in that rookie year.
Agreed.
I understand they got Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, who had a great year this year. Stephon Diggs is hurt now, so you're going to see a drop-off. But it's not like he didn't play half the season. Yeah. He played,
a substantial number of games.
Enough where it should have been pretty
noticeable
clear.
In the stats.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And but they were just really injured at receiver this year. Especially late in the season.
Yeah, they had a lot of injuries.
I think this game this defense played good, pulling the Chiefs to 23 points. I think if their receivers are back, they honestly could win this game.
You think so?
it's hard to beat Mahomes and the refs.
The Chiefs,
but
don't let the record deceive you. The Chiefs are pretty good. Chiefs aren't elite.
They're not as good as they're not 16-2
no,
good.
No,
you know what I mean?
15-2 right now.
Right, yeah, but still,
they'll be 16-2 next week.
Yeah.
Spoiler for our conversation about the Bills. But no, it's the Chiefs are not as good as that record.
I mean, they're
anyone who like understands football and like watches it with two eyes and a brain knows that the Chiefs are not as good as that record would suggest.
No.
They're good. We're not saying they're bad, but they had a lot of last second saves this year against crap teams like the Raiders. I mean,
right.
You're not, you know.
Like they almost lost to the Ravens early in the year. Isaiah Likely, all he did was get his toe in. Didn't.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that where if you're just like a casual NFL fan that's just watching these games, you're going to see this record and see the Chiefs and, you know.
Assume they're the best team.
Right, but they're not. On paper, yes. Well, record-wise.
Yes.
But not like efficiency-wise.
Not raw talent, no.
Travis Kelce, he's been kind of struggling this year as well. Drop-off since last year. Just tight ends in general, honestly, except like Brock Bowers maybe. But
who wasn't like amazing, but a really respectable rookie season on a garbage team. So
yeah.
I don't even know if I can call him
Brock Bowers, yeah.
I don't even know if I can call him like amazing.
He had a good year. But
especially considering he had no quarterback.
Yeah.
You know,
it's tough.
I mean, when Scrubs like, oh my god, I'm blank on his name for the Raiders. Oh, I'm blank.
Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell. When scrubs like that are thrown at you, and you still have the season you do, I don't need you to be have a prime Kelce season for me to call you a great tight end. You know, I don't need you to do that. And Brock Bowers did that. Yeah, but anyway, we're getting off topic.
But, Travis Kelce, he's been kind of stuck in the mud this year. Not stuck in the mud, but just not performing at the high level that he always has been over the years. Yeah. Great game, though.
He did.
7 receptions, 117 yards, and a touchdown. And they have so much depth at tight end, too.
They do.
Which really helps them open the passing game, and it's just good.
We'll talk about. We're going to give predictions for the conference championships at the end, so I'll have a little more to say about the Chiefs now. But in terms of this game, I mean, the Texans didn't have a great year. I'm not surprised at the outcome.
Right? Yeah, and they're injured, so it's tough to win with injuries like this.
Oh yeah, we'll get to the
we'll get to the
next
injuries.
game. Oh boy.
So yeah.
So that's all I have on the Chiefs.
Yep, same.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on to Injury Bowl playoff edition. We have the Commanders and the Lions. So, Eric, what do you have on that?
All right. So the Lions lose it 45-31. They shouldn't have lost this game.
Well, that's what happens.
It's just they're really injured.
Exactly. They're a walking infirmary.
Yeah.
I'm not going to applaud you, Commanders.
Yeah.
Like, look, Jane Daniels is legit.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that. He's very talented. Bro, you beat a walking infirmary. I can't say that you're going to win the Super Bowl. You're not.
Yeah.
But this is a great year. Those Commanders fans after Dan Snyder
and
all the crap they went through, RG3. I mean,
there's a list of just really injury-prone and bad quarterbacks.
And it's all Dan Snyder's fault, the former owner. I mean, do you remember when he sued the 85-year-old woman who was the season ticket holder because she couldn't afford the season tickets during the Great Recession?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that story will haunt Dan Snyder forever, and the Commanders were stuck with that for so many years that it killed them. And then unfortunate stuff like RG3. But they are finally back. New owner, new quarterback, who is basically Lamar Jackson with an arm.
Yeah.
With a better arm, let's say. And they're going places. They're not going to win next week, but it's an incredible year for them. And this was a remarkable win. 28 points in the second quarter. That is remarkable.
Yeah,
remarkable.
Coming out of college, Jaden Daniels, man, he was good. He was surrounded by some talent.
He was underrated.
I agree. The only thing why I didn't think he was going to be as good as he is right now is just because when he was running, he was just getting destroyed. He was getting killed.
He ran like a gazelle.
Didn't know how to slide.
I say that partially as a joke, but his stride is very long.
Yeah.
So it's easy to catch up to him. If you're like a fast linebacker, it was easy to catch up on him. But he adjusted.
Yep.
And it's working out.
That's what I like to see.
You got to develop, and he's developing.
Exactly. That's what. Yeah, like how these guys develop in the league, and
he developed in the Commanders organization. Think about that for a second. Yeah. Think about that. He's developing like this in the Commanders organization. Look at Caleb Williams, who is far more talented, but is hampered by an awful organization. So it's all about development, guys, and Jaden Daniels has the people around him to develop him, on and off the field.
And you see a lot like that happening a lot, where you have a good quarterback, goes to a bad team, obviously, because he's getting drafted first overall, and then he just gets hindered by his team's performance in either coaching or whatever it is. Like Bryce Young's a good example of that. Good player in college, and then he goes to the Panthers and just struggles.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been struggling for years now. But so that's just kind of what it is. And the way that Jaden Daniels is kind of adapting with not the greatest of receivers is really impressive.
No, they're not horrible, but they're
Terry
not
McLaurin's good, but
they're not great. They're not amazing.
Jared Goff struggled, though. 3 interceptions is not
You know what?
good.
I honestly feel the way about him the way I felt about Sam Darnold last week, where it's like I was rooting for you to make a comeback, and I was proud of you, and you were going places. Then when the lights get brightest, you crumble. And I saw someone call Sam Darnold McDonald's, and I was like, that's amazing. That's so good. And he probably ran himself out of Minneapolis. And honestly, because, I mean, they have McCarthy. I mean,
right.
Who's going to be healthy?
Yep.
I don't know if Goff's done. I don't think
so.
But this, for all the goodwill he built up, reviving his career here, you can't throw 3 interceptions in this game.
No.
Not at home.
No, especially not at home. I mean, this Detroit teams,
Look, 31 points is respectable. Yeah. It's not all his fault.
No,
but 3 interceptions is what differentiates you with a 14-point difference.
Yeah.
When it's 14 points, those 3 interceptions, that's what kills you.
Yeah.
Look at the game we're going to talk about later. Turnovers kill you.
Right.
And he turned over the ball 3 times.
Yeah, like a lot of the time, when you lose the turnover battle, you're going to lose the game. Uh-huh. I mean, it's just it's not even like me just saying that. That's a stat.
Yeah. Right.
So in this team, on offensive wise, and used to be defensive wise, but they're just so injured.
Can you imagine what this team would be if Hutchinson didn't get hurt?
Right, and brutal injury, just imagine? Horrible. But
he's not. I don't think he's going to be the same.
No, I mean,
I think he's going to be the same. That's
a really bad injury. Yeah, that leg wrapping around. But yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I feel for Lions fans because this really is like a tragic way.
Like people were thinking this was their year.
You have the team.
Yes,
and
they do.
You just get hurt.
Especially offensive wise, man. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, David Montgomery.
This isn't the 49ers, where the 49ers got killed by injuries.
Yeah.
But if the 49ers didn't get hurt, they're 10-7. No, you know what I'm saying? They're good. And, they're good. They're probably going to make the playoffs, but they're not elite.
Mm-hmm.
This team was elite, and the injuries just did them in, and it really is just a horrible way to lose.
Yep.
I saw a stat where I saw someone tweeted this out because I was on Twitter last night a lot during Ohio State Notre Dame, just kind of seeing what people were saying, and someone was saying. The Lions lost on Saturday. The Pistons lost on Saturday. The Red Wings lost on Saturday and Sunday. And Ohio State is in the national championship. Michigan sports fans are in hell. And I was like, you know what? You're kind of right, guys. Yeah. Michigan sports fans are not in a good place right now.
Yep.
Yeah, but this Lions story, it
sucks, man. I mean,
I was rooting for them.
That's what I was.
They were the feel-good story.
Yep. But I really like Jaden Daniels.
I like him too.
I like him a lot. So I've liked him ever since college.
But, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Again, we'll talk more about him in a bit. But that's all I have on that game. Okay. So next, guys, we have Eagles-Rams. I'll just say this before I hand over to you. Nick Sirianni should get fired before next week. He won't. But he should. How do you let the Rams get a drive away from from winning the game? That is just a disgrace.
Especially like in the snow.
horrible.
The LA Rams, they play indoors in LA.
And what was so weird was that, obviously, first off, let's say this. We're looking out. Obviously, we wish the best for the people in Los Angeles currently recovering from the wildfires. But poor Sean McVay had the LAFD beanie on his head. And I was like, this looks really weird surrounded by snow. But honestly, that he is going to kill them.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles, out of the 4 teams that are left, I truly believe that they have the best roster. They have the best talent. I believe that in my heart. But their coach is holding them back from greatness.
I completely agree. I mean, look,
their coach is awful.
I understand. I mean, he's winning games or he's doing his thing.
He's riding the team. He's not coaching them to victory. This isn't Mike Tomlin where he's taking a 5-win roster and getting them to 500.
Right.
He's got an elite roster, and he's losing 2 games on his own. Yeah. And the problem for the Eagles is that I truly believe that one of those games is going to come in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know?
It very well could. Look, nobody's stopping Saquon Barkley, especially the Rams, man. Dude. 200 yards is just ridiculous.
Dude, he is fun.
He's so fun to watch. He had like a 90-yard touchdown or something. Yeah. It was something ridiculous.
I think it was like 80, but you're right.
Either way, it's just amazing. Week after week, it's just like, is this guy, like, it's just such a different atmosphere now that he's on a good team, and he's just like, with the Giants, when the Eagles got him.
Picking him over Daniel Jones will haunt John Mara forever.
Yeah, but, when he was on the Giants, he was very injury-prone with his ACL injuries. He stayed healthy this season.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you don't get hurt as soon as you leave, I always feel that there's like something going on there. I feel, and this isn't just a football thing. This is like a all sports thing. It happens all the time. Like baseball, the Pirates, traded away Charlie Morton, and Charlie Morton was injury prone and was average at best when he was on the field, and then he leaves and is a Cy Young candidate for Houston. Yeah. When that sort of stuff happens, it's you. And I feel in that case, it's the Giants. The Giants were truly the ones holding him back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it just comes down to coaching at that point, where Nick Sirianni, he's not the greatest coach, but he's like, it's just Saquon really producing and doing his thing.
Yeah.
Staying healthy, which is always good. The receivers were, I understand it's snowing, but, like, you're A.J. Brown and you have 14 yards. Like, he had a decent, he had an all right regular season this year. And then Devontae Smith as well. Like, just 2 really high-caliber receivers.
Yeah.
And just not showing up. I understand they won the game, but, like, Saquon can't do everything. You know what I mean? It gets to a point where your receivers are going to have to step up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really feel it was just this roster is so much better than the Rams roster, and they played down to competition. And this is not, you can't do that against
and it's very easy to do.
Daniels or Mahomes.
Right, like you see it you see it all the time. Teams just playing down to competition.
It's infuriating.
But look, but this Rams team isn't bad. I mean, they have Matthew Stafford, who's older, yes, but he's still producing at a high level.
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and then you have Kyren Williams, who's a young star, 19 carries, 106 yards, no touchdowns, but I think he had a fumble as well, which also that was another issue, turnover battle, man. The Rams struggled to hold the ball. They had 2 fumbles lost. One of them was in transition to Kyren Williams, and then it's just like you got to hold on to the ball. Get rid of your sleeves, maybe.
You're right.
In the snow, a lot of guys have sleeves on just to stay warm. Put some Tiger Balm on or something. Like, I understand it's cold, but if you have sleeves on, you're not going to catch the ball, first of all, and you're just going to get it punched out with ease.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens next week. I still think they win, but it won't because of their coach. It will be because of the talent.
Yeah.
That's all I have on that. What about you?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, one more thing.
Yeah, please, by all means.
Jared Verse for the Rams. What a game. 4 tackles, 2 sacks. He was just flying all over the field, man.
Yeah.
He wasn't really making plays that show up in the stat sheet, but he was making a lot of good plays.
He was delivering on the field.
Yeah.
Good for them. Good for him.
Yep.
He's had a rocky career.
He has. Yeah, for sure.
So good for him.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Now let's start laughing. Bills Ravens.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start out. Eric, what do you have on that?
All right, so the Bills win at 27-25 against the Ravens. I can't see anyone stopping Josh Allen, to be honest, man. He is so good.
127 passing yards with no TDs.
Right, but
it's not like he had a great game.
The defense.
Yes, the defense did well.
You know, it's just like he didn't play great, but like
no, the Ravens beat themselves. Let's
yes,
call it like we see
yes.
it. The Bills didn't win this game. The Ravens lost it.
They had it literally in their hands. Mark Andrews, man, what are you doing?
Yep.
You got to hold on to that football. That wasn't even a bad throw from Lamar. It's just like
it wasn't. It was right on the money.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Allard or Singleton against Notre Dame where the throw was behind him.
Yeah, everything just comes back to Ohio State or Penn State. Just bad plays.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, I feel it's the appropriate comparison to make. I don't think I'm wrong for making that comparison.
No.
But no, I mean, but still, here's the problem. An interception and a fumble? I mean, you can't.
No.
You can't do that, Lamar.
Mark Andrews had such a bad game. It's just like
that fumble. That's one of the worst fumbles you'll ever see.
He had it punched right out. Like, come on.
Bad.
Come on.
He's supposed to be one of the best players in franchise history.
He really fell off this year, man. He did not have the year he was having last year.
Yeah.
So good. Top 2 tight end behind Kelsey.
You're right.
Then he just falls off. Now, could it have been that injury he had last year? For sure.
Respect to Lamar.
Injury, broken leg or whatever.
Respect to Lamar for in the press conference taking ownership and not putting it on Andrews.
Yes.
That is the sign of a good leader.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sign of a someone who isn't complacent.
Right.
And like, I'm never going to win in the playoffs. So what? He's not like that, and I respect that about him. But every time, it's like every single year the Ravens beat themselves. And it's just so exhausting, man.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
Look, this team is just so good. And honestly, on paper, better roster than the Bills. I mean, you have Josh Allen, James Cook. He's like
better roster.
Like, you have Derrick Henry. Bills defense did a great job of shutting down Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
16 carries, which is insane. 84 yards and a touchdown. Like, and that touchdown wasn't even like
84 yards for Derrick Henry is not amazing.
No, it's like Ashton Genty. If you can keep him below 100 yards, that's a good game for your defense.
Right. And put it in Lamar's hands.
Especially
and Lamar doesn't win.
Lamar's hands,
and
man.
Lamar doesn't win.
Like, he's not. He can run the ball. He opened up. He's changing the game with his rushing abilities. He had 254 yards.
I'll give Lamar credit. He has definitely developed into a respectable passer over the last couple years.
I mean, he's won MVP. It's like he's not bad.
2 MVPs.
Right.
I mean, I don't. He was never a bad passer.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the passer that he was now.
Yeah.
And he's gotten much better, and I will give him props for that.
Yep. It's kind of hard also to be a good passer when your receivers aren't the best. It's just over and over again. We keep saying the same thing, but it's true. A lot of these teams don't have high caliber receivers.
You're right.
And a lot of these offenses just aren't built around that. You see it in college a lot where you'll have a good running back room, a good receiving room. It's hard to do that in the NFL just because of the salary cap.
Well, of course, yes. The salary cap is the big deal breaker there.
Right. And it's, Lamar is a good quarterback, great quarterback even, but he just struggles in the playoffs.
He's terrible.
Yeah, he just can't win.
No, when the lights are brightest, he doesn't show up.
Yeah, and the Bills don't even have that good receivers either.
Here's my philosophy: if you want to be like and this is my issue with across the league, because you saw Trevor Lawrence getting this ridiculous contract and Tagovailoa getting this massive contract, like all these quarterbacks who have done nothing, getting huge deals.
Yeah.
My philosophy is if you get that contract, you need to do one of two things. You need to win games in the playoffs, or you need to be like Josh Allen, where you play great in games that you lose in the playoffs.
Yes.
Allen has not played well once against Mahomes. He has played well twice. He wasn't just good in those 2 games against the Chiefs. He was amazing in those 2 games against the Chiefs. It was not his fault they lost either of those games. That's what you need to do to justify those those contracts, and Lamar just does not. He doesn't.
Lights just get too bright, like you said.
It does, but at the same time, if you're the Ravens, he's a 2-time MVP. How are you not going to pay him?
Right, exactly. He's got to get paid. You almost have to.
Oh, and frankly, even though he doesn't win a ton of games in the playoffs, he's a two-time MVP. I think he deserves it. I will ask you this, Harbaugh, is it time? I'm tempted to say that it's time because he has gotten this team nowhere since the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
He's done nothing.
That's tough. I mean, I think he's going to... You have to keep him. I mean, do
you think you're getting a better coach? That's the question. I think that's the $1 million question. Are you going to get a better coach than John Harbaugh? I don't think
at the moment, no.
No. No one's just proven. I mean, we don't know how Ben Johnson's going to do.
Right. Which I think I really like that. I like
the hire, but the organization and the lack of development for the quarterback makes me think it's not going to work out. But that's another conversation.
Yep.
I don't know. I think John Harbaugh might be time.
I don't know. I mean,
that's my gut. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the Bills. At times, this team looks lethargic. I'll say it. At times, this team looks terrible, but they pull it out. And again, they're not an amazing roster. Eric said it, and I completely agree. On paper, the Ravens have the much better roster, but they have a very good quarterback who basically is that team, and he gets them to the promised land unless they play Kansas City.
Yeah.
In which case, they fall on their face.
They just have a really young team, receiver-wise.
They do.
Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman, the rookie, they're young.
I thought Keon Coleman would be better than he is.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah.
I don't think Keon Coleman
really
worked
years, but
yeah, let's give, I would say 2 more before you can really judge it. But right now, he's not delivering. And Allen didn't have a great game. On paper, you don't really understand why they won. But, I mean, he had he had 2 rushing touchdowns, no passing ones. They're a solid team. Yeah, and they're not elite.
Another reason why I think they've even gotten this far, the Bills, is because Josh Allen he's cleaned up the interceptions.
He has. That was his problem.
Yes.
And he fixed it.
Last year he was throwing so many just stupid interceptions, not even like...
But I think that's because he got in his head and he realized, I am this team.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality led to that, honestly. But now that some of that mentality has kind of gone away, I think it's really helped him out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I think it's helped. We'll see. Well, I don't need to see what happens next week. But, again, let's move on to talking about conference championships, unless you have something else to say about this game.
I don't.
I think that's the post-mortem that the Ravens deserve.
Yeah.
Laughter and mockery. That's what they deserve. Okay, we're going to give predictions for the conference championship games. So we have Eagles-Commanders, and we have Bills-Chiefs. Right now, the Eagles are 5.5-point favorites to beat the Commanders, and right now the Chiefs are 1.5 favorites to beat the Bills. They're projecting both home teams. Surprise, surprise. Let's start with Eagles-Commanders. Great season for Washington, but this is where it ends, and there is no shame in that.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. Not very detailed, I know. But, I mean, the Eagles just have the much better roster.
It's just so
much
tough.
Better roster.
And if the receivers show up, the game's over.
Agreed.
I mean, if, AJ
Daniels
Brown,
can work magic, but if he gets more than 28 points on this team, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, and I'll be very impressed. I mean, look, this is a huge test for Jaden Daniels.
Is it, though? Because he doesn't have pressure on him. He's the underdog.
yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't. The pressure is all, and I mean all, on Saquon.
Not even. Honestly, I would argue more Nick Sirianni. Saquon's proven himself that he's great.
You're right. Not in a big spot, but Sirianni's been here before and he's fallen on his face. So I'll agree with you there. You're right, Sirianni. That's fair.
Yeah, look, if this team just comes together and just mixes it up and just plays like they've been playing all year, they're going to win.
I think the Eagles easily cover the spread. I think this is where it ends.
It's only by a touchdown, so.
Yeah, I think this is where it ends. And again, Commanders fans, and I know that there are a couple who listen to this show. Great season, guys. This season was so good for you. You should have no shame in losing this game. Like, this has been an amazing season.
Yeah, great run. I mean,
fantastic run. After that Steelers loss, I thought they were dead.
Yeah.
And they came back and really played hard. And that Lions win, that defines their season. Everything on top of this is gravy, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and look, like you said, I mean, the Commanders, they have nothing to lose. They're going to come into this game.
Nothing to lose.
They have a lot of momentum right now, though.
They do. With nothing to lose. Momentum with nothing to lose is powerful.
Little underdog story.
Yep.
It could.
It could.
I think Washington can win this game. They'd have to stop Saquon Barkley. But then you stop Saquon Barkley, you also have to stop A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts.
As a Steelers fan, I'll be rooting for the Commanders, but I'm trying to be realistic, and I just don't think they can stop them. But yeah. I'll be rooting for them.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be rooting for them.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
So, I guess I can give a score. I say the Eagles win 31-20.
I'll say the Eagles win 28-14.
Wow, you think they're only going to score 14?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a hot take. I respect it though.
But
I'm not. I respect that.
But I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it could go either way. I like Jaden Daniels. I like the Commanders in this game.
I do too, but not to win. I like them being competitive, which is why I gave them 20 points. I just don't think they're going to be on the victory side. I think the Eagles win.
Yeah. But it's either going to be a blowout or it's going to be a really close game.
I agree. I don't think it's going to be like a mid-tier game. I think
this is going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be like 10-plus points or a point or two.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's going to be a touchdown victory. Okay. And then I guess we'll move on to Chiefs hosting the Bills. Again, the Chiefs have a 1.5. Favored by a 1.5.
Wow.
Buffalo has no number one receiver. They have okay running backs. That doesn't beat the best quarterback of all time. That's it. That's what it comes down to. I suspect that this will be another classic, like it always is.
Mm-hmm.
I think Allen's going to play out of his mind.
Yes.
I think that Mahomes won't play out of his mind. Allen will have like a better stat sheet, but when the lights are brightest, Mahomes will show up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what matters.
It's what he does.
Exactly.
It's really hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes.
How can you bet against him? How can you? I don't know how you could possibly bet against him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could bet against him.
And after that, like, roughing the passer call last week, they just get so much help from the refs.
They get so much help.
And the official that's on this game is Clete Blakeman. He averages almost 16 penalty calls per game. And
he averages 16 or his crew averages 16?
His crew.
Okay.
Which is that's the
still
most.
bad.
That's the most.
That's still bad. If you're like the one,
and if you're Buffalo, he's called.
That's bad.
252 penalties in 16 games. That's the highest in the NFL.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's.
That's nuts. That's crazy. Okay, yeah. Again, I still think it'll be a classic. But I think the Chiefs. Chiefs will win.
It's also tough, like, in coming into this game, the Jawan Taylor is this he's the 18th highest penalized player in the league.
Okay.
Their offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He false starts a ton. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But penalties, if this game's close, penalties are going to just end up killing the Bills. Which it will be close. If there's it's really tough with the Chiefs and like the refs and all that. Because if there's like one bad call, people are just going to blow it out of proportion. They're going to be like, oh, this lost the game. I feel like it's really hard to blame
one call.
Yes, or one play, or just in general, just one thing on a loss.
And I understand that. Here's my mentality. If he loses this game, which again I think he will, I think we need to put Allen into Lamar territory where you are talented, and when no one's saying you aren't.
Yeah.
But we need to start having serious conversations about your lack of success when it matters most. But we need to start having serious conversations. The only thing that's hurting Lamar more so than Allen in this discussion is that Lamar has MVPs. Allen doesn't, and right. I think that's why Lamar's I think that's why Lamar's taking a lot of the heat for that in that discussion, whereas Allen isn't. But Allen is playing at MVP level, and you need to finally overcome the Chiefs.
I think Lamar's situation's worse than Josh Allen's, just because
right now it is
right because he's not making it to play against the Chiefs.
Sure,
they're arguably the best quarterback of all time. It's tough to win. It's tough to win.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the NBA superstars, Barkley and whatnot, who never won a championship. Why? Because of Michael Jordan. Yeah. So I mean, when you run into a talent that iconic and that special, I understand that can, we can use that as an excuse or a reason for your lack of success. But again, at some point, you gotta start really finally winning. It's time for the Bills to show up in the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
It has been too many years of, we're really good, but we're just short.
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Patrick Mahomes
got to show up.
He's not even during the regular season. He's honestly had a down year.
Yes.
I mean, he is this is the year to beat Patrick Mahomes.
He's never won an MVP
right now.
MVPs don't mean as much as they did. Patrick Mahomes does not have an MVP, and he's on pace to be one of the best quarterbacks ever, possibly the best quarterback ever. So Lamar and Allen, that's not a reason, at least in my eyes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't see the Bills pulling it out. I think this is where their journey ends. I predict Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl.
Yeah, Mahomes is 3-0 against Allen, but
not in the regular season.
In the postseason. In the postseason.
Well, again, when it matters.
That's where it matters
exactly.
most.
Yep. Amen.
Honestly, though, I think the Bills can't really win this game, and they can make some noise. They're coming off a good win last week where it was close. They almost lost.
Yeah.
But they got all the momentum right now, and they don't have any, it's not a Commander situation where they have nothing to lose. Because they got to beat Mahomes in the playoffs.
They have something. Oh, you mean the Bills?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant the Chiefs. I was
no.
Okay. No, the Bills have dignity to lose.
Yeah.
The Bills, I mean, again, at what point are we going to finally say this team is truly upper echelon caliber in the NFL?
Right.
How many more times are we going to go down this route with them?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but I honestly think the Bills really can win this game.
They can, but
I think they will.
In the big moment, you're trusting Mahomes over Allen, and you're lying if you deny that.
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's the difference. That's what it comes down to. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah, but they can win. They can. But for my prediction, I'll say the Chiefs will win. Just because.
What's the score?
It's going to be
It's going to be. I think it's going to be low 20s. I think it's going to be 24-21.
These games really are never. They're never breaking 30 plus points ever. No. It's always real close.
Even the year they went to overtime, it didn't get crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't
know. But for a score prediction, I'll go.
I'm going to say 24-21 Chiefs.
28-24 Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be close.
I don't think either team breaks 30.
Nope.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much for listening to episode 10 of Catching the Facts. I hope you liked thank you for following this college football season with us. Eric and I have had an amazing, amazing time making this show. I've had the time of my life personally. I don't want to speak for Eric in that regard.
Me too.
But we've had the time of our lives. Thank you so much again. I hope you also enjoyed listening to the NFL portion of this show because this was I don't know about you, Eric. I had a really fun time talking about these games. It was a real fun change of pace for us. I hope you guys will enjoy that part. I hope you will come back next week where we will talk about the conference championship games. Have a great week, and we'll see you then. So, again, until then, this has been your host, Dan Sisk.
And I'm Eric Schroeder.
We'll see you next week.
To you. Hey there, listeners. I'm Matt Boyer, station manager of WSVC Radio. If you like what you're listening to, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to be notified with all of our updates. Every day, one of our shows will be releasing a new episode. Stick around and tune in.